and welcome to my YouTube channel and blog. I'm Jenny Hall. Thanks for joining me for another card making tutorial. Today I will demonstrate how to create an easel styled fancy fold card, and this card is going to conclude the 2016 card making video tutorial series on fancy folds. I'm using the stamp set Special Reason that is from the 2017 Stampin Up Occasions catalog, and it pairs perfectly with Stylish Stems Framelits dies. There are a couple of dies in the stamp set that allow you to cut a negative and just have the image of a flower punched out of cardstock, and so you can back it up with anything. So today I'll be using this die cut technique to let the cardstock color show through to the front of the card. Making an easel card is much more simple than it appears. It is a bit of a wow card, which is really great for a receiver to get a card and be able to display it in a new and creative way. In order to start this project, you'll need a piece of cardstock. Then you'll start out with it cut at 4 1/4 by 8 1/2. That means that the cardstock is twice as long as it is wide. So we're going to end up with a square shaped card. To get the folds that will turn into an easel, you will score the cardstock at 4 1/4 and then also slide it down to 6 3/8. That's going to give you the two places of the easel portion. But please make sure that you burnish your score lines, turn them both directions, and this will allow the card to actually fold up and stay well. Here's the small little die, and as you can see, the die cut is really pretty, and I like how this is a different style of intentional die cut, that it only cuts out the negative portion. We don't do anything with the pieces of the flower petals that it cut out. I don't see that they'll really serve much of a purpose yet, although there is a framelit that goes around this particular die cut, so it will give even further really cool die cuts. Night of Navy is the cardstock and the ink color that I'm working with today, and it works perfectly with Floral Boutique Designer Series paper, and that paper is from the 2016 annual catalog. It's a really pretty paper, and I think it works perfectly with this new product from the Occasions catalog. I'm really happy when I can find something from the annual catalog or something that's already in my craft stash that works nicely with a new product. It's like having a bonus time. Here is a very simple, elegant, scripty sentiment that says happy birthday, and with the big giant flowers and floral motif going on this card, I didn't want the happy birthday sentiment to compete. I wanted to leave an area that it'll clearly say happy birthday, and it'll add a touch of elegance to a card that could very easily become too busy. But by keeping the sentiment very simple and allowing it to have plenty of room and space on the card, then it kind of keeps things a little bit more centered for me. Here is the medallion that is created for the very front of the card, and this will be called the card front. The card front is going to be the exact size of the folded card, and that's 4 1/4 tall and wide, so that would be 4 1/4 squared. That's how we're going to get our square card. In the middle of the card, I wanted to have the sentiment and the floral motif smaller, so I just created a smaller square. It's not a die cut. I just cut a piece of cardstock that was smaller and then did the die cutting. Right now I'm working on the inside of the card, and this is going to be also showing whenever the card is folded as an easel, then the inside of the card will show to the whole overall card look. So I am spending a bit more time on the inside of the card, and it's for a good reason, because the inside of the card actually is going to serve as part of the overall look of the card. So if you choose to make this design, keep that in mind, that whatever you place for the inside of the card is really going to make a difference. This is going to be adhered to the card base with snail adhesive. Snail adhesive works fine to adhere pattern paper down to the cardstock, and this piece of card is not going to move. It's the very top of the card that's going to be doing the movement. I'm using another part of the sentiment from this same stamp set, and I can't remember exactly what it says, but it'll show us in just a minute. There's a lot of great things that are in this stamp set. There's 7 sentiments, and I like the fact that I have several different choices that I can use. It works great for a birthday card, but it also works great for a congratulations or just a friendship card. So the inside, we now know, says, wishing you a beautiful day. So I think that's a kind of a nice sentiment to pair with a happy birthday. It's not going over the top and giving too many accolades. It's just very simple that also pairs with the simple sentiment on the front of the card. I am putting the cardstock onto a piece of Night of Navy card, and I'm making sure that this is a nice, well-built item that is going to be popped up onto the inside of the card. This is going to actually serve as like a door stopper for the easel portion of the card. Please pay attention to where you want to put this, because the very topmost of where you place this is going to be where your easel actually stops. So it's going to determine the angle of how the top of the card sits. You'll see whenever I'm finished with a card that I'm going to turn it sideways and show you what the angle is. But I think it's important for someone to understand that when you have a card, you might not be happy with the angle. If it's going to sit up and be an easel style, that's great and all, but what about if it's not sitting at an angle that makes you happy? So keep that in mind as you're working on your project. To make sure that this medallion or this card front did not come loose at all from the card base, I used some fast fuse adhesive. That's a much stronger adhesive than the snail adhesive, and it is immediate. There's no repositioning. You can't tear it back off. It is that strong. So fast fuse is definitely what I wanted to use to get the job done on this project. Here are some clear sparkly sequins, and I'm taking them from my Loctite sequin holder. You could put just about any kind of accessory in this kind of holder, and I have found that this sequin container works especially good for 3-year-olds. They are not able to crack the code on how to get this open. So I highly recommend. It's not very expensive, and I recommend that if you ever have dumped over your sequin cases or your little holders for your craft objects, that some type of a Loctite container works really well. So this is how the card turns out, and this is the angle. So this is how you would actually choose the position on what kind of angle it's going to come out. And this wraps up the project. This also wraps up the series on Fancy Fold cards for 2016. My next series is going to be for masking technique. And I invite you over to my YouTube channel and blog. And there you will find a new card making idea every day. Thanks for joining me. Have a great day.
Thanks for watching the video. See you next time.